Hello everyone, it's your girl, your host, the number one rational religionist and conversationist, RITA, Rita. Today on Let's Get Critical, my discussion will be based on religious adherents and their places of worship. But before we get started, let's move into our fun fact. Do you know that a virus can fall ill? Yes, a virus can be infected by another virus known as virophage. Alright, let's get critical. So, have you heard religious adherents, some religious adherents give excuses while they no longer attend their places of worship? Okay, they give excuses such as my body is the temple of God, so why do I have to go to church or mosque or other place of worship, or the relationship between I and God doesn't concern any place of worship. Okay, they give other excuses, and on and on and on. But today, I want to tell you that many of such people, many religious adherents who stopped going to their places of worship, did not do so because they wanted to pursue a worldly lifestyle, but they did so because they're actually, wanting love, which they could not get in their places of worship. They wanted virtues they could not get in their places of worship. Okay, now let me start by saying it's actually ironical when people preaches, especially in church, and they say and the pastor tell you to come as you are, that God wants you to come as you are, and then you see a brother come with his tattoo, his crazy hairstyle, his crazy jeans, and then he start when he come around to the church, he start judging him and start castigating him, and that kind of thing is discouraging. For example, I was in a particular church in a time one time, like a time ago, where this particular brother is very spiritual. We had a middle service. He came around and he was speaking in tongues and praying, and even giving us prayer requests, and we praying on them. And when we got to the lodge, I was myself and my lodge mates we attend the church. So when we got to the lodge, we were just relaxing. My lodge mates were saying, how can this kind of person be having tattoo on his body, and he said he's spiritual? And I'm like, are you serious? I was trying to tell them that people don't don't I'm trying to tell them not to judge people with their appearance, because it's crazy. People who are with scary appearance most times are the nicest people. Those people with crazy hairstyle, crazy dresses, crazy tattoos on their body, they are the nicest set of people. Whereas people with tie scarves on their hair, don't do they do without jewelries, they're religious in their appearance, they're the most wicked people in this world. So I was trying to explain to them that you don't judge people, you don't judge people with their appearance, and it should not be done even in church. Some such things discourage people, religious adherents, from going into that place of worship any longer. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that religious adherents, stop going to their places of worship, right? Because of the way people live their life, the religious leaders especially live their life. It's so crazy. I also had this kind of experience where I go to the church. I was in a particular church, and I used to believe that everybody in church, they are all child of God. So when I got to the church, and I was we come to church, and go to the main to the reward, and after church you see people that are supposed to be leaders in church, doing some kind of thing, and you be like, really? I thought you are children of God. Why should you be doing this? That kind of thing. And many times, people see this and they get discouraged. They feel, I cannot go to the same church this person. I cannot even, if the same God that this person is serving, I cannot serve. It's outrageous. But I was able to blend, because I was matured enough to know that I'm not serving anybody. I'm serving God. So I was able to blend in. But for some people that doesn't have this kind of ability to understand that they are actually serving God, they could get discouraged and they stop going to the place of worship. Another thing is that many times churches, places of worship, the leadership, the administration, they like helping people outside the church, giving charity works so that people can see it, outside the church. And instead of helping their own church members that put in their best into the church to grow. I have a lot of examples for this. There was a brother that I used to know in a particular church also that I attended when I was an undergraduate. This brother was dedicated in this church, and unfortunate for him, he lost his father. I think at the particular time the church was doing a particular project, so they couldn't assist him financially, and also they did not send him any. The church did not send him any, you know, they did not send in anybody to represent them at the funeral, father's funeral. So the brother was discouraged and he stopped going to church. Okay, another example is my own personal experience, my personal example experience I had. Okay, so I attended this church and my family attended this church when I was growing up. We had an issue at a point. For 6 years, we could not get a particular, a comfortable place to stay. And my family, my parents, then I was in school, so they left and they started living in a particular place inside the church, one particular room inside the church. And it wasn't convenient, and it will rain and there will be flood, and we have to start packing water out of the place, literally. And I was expecting, after reading the book of Acts and see how apostles were helping the poor, people inside the church that were poor, I was expecting the same thing in my own church as well. So I was expecting that people would, help. For 6 years, the situation was still like that, and my dad actually died in that situation. I was so unhappy because I could not help at that particular point in time. I was discouraged and I wanted to forgo church and everything about God. But at a point I know that I actually love God and I don't want that situation to really cost me to say no to God and all. So I had to switch my church so I don't have to feel that kind of sadness and brokenness. I had to change my church because I felt okay, I cannot deal with it going to church and remembering this thing. Let me just switch my church and all. So it happened like that. That a lot of times churches don't help their church members. I don't know why. Although some churches are different, some places of worship are different, they help their people, but many people are still like that. Many churches, many denominations are still like that. They don't really like helping their church members. They fear charity given to outsiders so people can see it and all. And another thing I wanted, what am I trying to say in this episode is that we should stop judging people. We should show genuine love to people, no matter how they look, no matter their appearance, because nobody is holy, nobody is perfect. We are walking into perfection. Okay, so we should always not don't judge people according to their appearance, and also we should try as much as possible to live a life worthy of what we affirm. If you say you are a Christian or a Muslim, live a life that is worthy of what you believe, so that people don't get discouraged when they see you, especially if you're a leader, in any sect, in your place of worship, so people don't see you and get discouraged. And lastly, I want to say that we should inculcate the habit of helping people will relate to it. I made a video some time ago talking about giving people will relate to it, because they're the one that can lift us up later on. It is good to help people in our church, even as leaders in the church. So I hope I'm able to hope you're able to relate with everything I've been saying ever since, and you're able to learn and relearn. Have a wonderful time. See you another time, and let's get critical. Thank you.